Hello, welcome to Bob's Dungeon. My name is Bob, I'll be your host. And looking at the offerings of campaign settings in 5th edition, it's, as far as I'm concerned, pretty bleak. The only things they have campaign-wise for 5th edition are what they've done before in the past. Redoing Forgotten Realms, Dragonlance, Greyhawk, Ravenloft, and they do these over and over and over again, with each new iteration of them being far inferior to anything that's come before in previous editions of the game. Even 4th edition's campaign settings are better than what you'll find in 5th edition. And 5th edition really doesn't give you a world to explore. They give you a string of adventures to get you from point A to point B, and that's the campaign setting. And no real sandbox, no real exploration other than the adventures presented therein. And not into that. They need to come up with some new material, new worlds to explore, and it just doesn't happen. In the OSR, there is kind of a lack of campaign settings, and it prompts you to do your own, which is very cool. Every now and again, something pops up, though, that is very interesting along those lines, and we're going to talk about that in this video. We're going to talk about Orc+Bone, Adventures in a Post-Human World. So, this book has 222 pages and a copyright of 2022. It was published by Total Party Skills, and there's not much artwork in here, so we're going to skip the regular look at the artwork in this. There's just a small little picture at the beginning of each chapter, and that's your lot. So we'll just skip the artwork for now. But anyway, character creation in this game is exactly what you'd find in any OSR. Particularly, this book is written with the white box in mind. So if you're familiar with the white box, you're familiar with pretty much any OSR character generation, you're familiar with this. So we're just going to hit the highlights for character creation, because it's all the same attributes and everything. Now, in this book, they provide you with some races that your character could be, and those would be the gnolls, the half-elves, the orcs, and the halflings. Notice there are no humans. We'll get to that. The classes that this game provides you is you can be a fighter or a thief, and those are the two classic classes that show up. After that, it's all new stuff. There is the Antiquian, the blacksmith, the berserker, the ranger, the shaman, the witch, and the wild halfling. And halflings are really neat in this game. There are 3 types of halflings. There's the wild halflings, which are halflings that had escaped in the beginning and now are pretty much barbarians. There is the free halflings, which are halflings that have been freed from the vampiric overlords. And then there are domesticated halflings, which are halflings that are pretty much cattle for the vampires. And we'll get into that. But this book takes place with no humans left in the world. Now, it gives you a brief history of everything that's happened and gives you enough so you know what's going on, but leaves everything open enough so that you can pretty much do as you want to do, which is very cool. Now, what has happened is this takes place in, well, it started in the time of men, kind of like the Lord of the Rings thing. The elves and the dwarves have both gone away, and the world is now run by the humans. And the humans ruled, building up their kingdoms for 1,000 years. And then suddenly, the humans are gone. Nobody's sure what happened to them. They just all disappeared. And it gives you a few ideas of what you can do along those lines. Well, the orcs, they were created from elf stock back when the elves and the dwarves were fighting, before the time of man. And when the war came to an end, instead of the elves bringing the orcs back into the fold saying, "You did a good job, thanks for fighting for us," the elves went, "Ew, get out of here." And they exiled the orcs to the hinterlands, where so they have a hatred for the elves, the dwarves, and the humans who were allied with the dwarves at the time. So the humans would send regular armies up from time to time and harass the orcs. But then everything stopped. The orcs heard nothing else from the humans. So they sent parties down to find out what was going on and found out there are no humans left. And while these war parties were down there, the halflings came to them and said, "We need your help. The humans are gone. We need a champion." And the orcs decided to become that champion. Because when the humans left, the vampires and stuff remained. The vampires had no one left to feed off of. Because there were some half-elves left, but elven blood burns the vampire in this setting. So they can't drink from the half-elves. They don't like the other races, the goblins and so forth, because their blood tastes a little bit nasty. And the halflings, their blood's alright, but they're so small. So the vampires started herding up all the halflings and using them as cattle for their feedings. So the halflings went to the orcs for help. And the orcs took up the baton and started waging war on the vampires and protecting the halflings for once. So the orcs have now completely moved down to the lands that the humans once controlled, and they're starting to build their foundations for the new orcish kingdoms as they take the place of man. So we're in the time of orc now, and it's pretty cool. It's got a lot of stuff you can do in here. This book gives you a chance to do something brand new and something different with your game while scratching that itch for the old feel, which is very cool. It's got a rundown of the different lands that the characters can explore and set up possible future kingdoms in. It's got a chapter here called Adventures in Doradia, which talks about the exploits of Prince Volvo, and it gives you an idea of how to grow other cities in your game. So that's pretty cool. And the book has pretty much everything you need to play. You'll need like another OSR set of rules in order to fully play this game. So you'll have monsters and so forth, dragons, goblins, whatever else you want to throw in. And if you so wanted, you could even convert this and use it in your 5th edition game, which would be very cool if you're into 5th edition. But brings me to 3 questions. Would I play a character in this campaign setting? Absolutely. It's something different, something brand new, something nobody else has done. Would I run this game? Would I run this campaign? Absolutely. If I had players playing it, you better believe I'd be running it. And would I recommend it? And yes, I would. It's a brand new take on how to run your game. It gives you something new, something different you can do, and just hits that old school feel too as well. So that's all I got to say about Orc+Bone for right now. Thank you for joining me at a look at this book, and hopefully you'll join me next time where we'll talk about something else. Bye.